So good evening, all. Welcome back to the day two, the Global Summit day. And this is a Track2 and Sneha. And I hope I'm audible. If not, please let us know. Please put on the chat that we are not audible. And I hope the screen is also shared. And now I'm welcoming Nancy Sharma, the speaker for the Crack Code Maximize Value topic. And Nancy, over to you.
Thanks, Neha. Hi, everyone. I see still nobody could make it to the camera. So I'm assuming it's the Saturday feeling. That's fine, guys. But let's try to make the session a little interactive. I'll have a couple of things where I would need input from you guys. So feel free to put that over in the chat box so that we can take the conversations further. All right, my topic for today says crack the code, maximize value. And if we just look around today, how do you see your companies, bigger brands? What are they wanting to do? Everybody is just talking about how we can deliver more, how can we deliver faster. So this is the topic that came while I was actually in conversation through a coaching assignment with my stakeholders. And then I started to go deeper into, layer on layer to interpret what does that mean? What does this mean? How to solve this and that? And then this idea came up, and I thought that probably what I've learned through different layers of learning, let me just present it and see how you guys find it. So here is it for today, cracking the code, maximize value. But before we move forward, just a very quick, I don't like talking about myself, so I'll go very, very brief on who am I. Seasoned Agile coach. I've been doing coaching and consulting for many years now, and I'm an absolute product delivery professional. I've worked in the roles where I've built products, I've delivered products, and I've worked with stakeholders to give shape and vision to what needs to be built. I am a SAFe program consultant. Right now, professionally, I'm placed as Director Agile Coach at Adidas. I'm a mom and a self-trainer for about 11 years now. And just a fun fact, as a family, we have done post-pandemic, we have lost the fun of traveling fast through airplanes and, discovering the world. I think for us, travel has changed the meaning into slow travel or untravel. And we've been doing many road travels across Indian roads, about 5,000 plus kilometers road travels over past 2.5 years. We have done about 3-4 such adventure road travels, and that keeps us going. Yes, with this, we are setting the context of what we are talking today and why are we talking today. So any quick words when you see this on your screen, what is it all about? What is this data all about? You can unmute and speak. You can put it on chat, whatever works, whatever is fast.
I think this shows, this is Suresh here. This shows the current lay of the trends that is going on in the market.
Absolutely. Bang on. So what is happening since the last quarter is something that from the great resignation period, just when pandemic started and we got control over the pandemic, there was a great resignation, right? Everybody was moving from their companies to somewhere else, right? And not staying put at their companies. And it has just taken about 2 years, and we are seeing the great massive mass layoffs, right, happening. And if you just look at the data, by the way, while doing this research, I came across this website that's called layoffs.fii, and that is only tracking and showing visualized data about how the layoffs are happening all across the globe. So pretty good insights in terms of data if you want to really go deep into it. But if you just look at the spread of the things, if you just look at the names of the companies who have laid off, it covers everybody. There are strong technology leaders in there. There are startups, there are mid-sized. If you look at the industry layout, every industry is impacted, right? There's no pinning into, if you are in this domain, probably you are most vulnerable, maybe not. It's across a phenomena across all the industries. And if you look at the employees laid off, companies with respect to lays off, everything is just, there's this understanding that it's a phenomena, it's a trend that's happening everywhere. The uncertainty is at every place, right? You're not safe. You're as vulnerable as I am, right? So let me put again another question here, right? So if I just say something like, how much do you love your mother, right? What's the answer? Quickly, guys, that's a simple one. I'll throw the difficult one after this.
I think it is difficult to respond. There is no, on earth, we cannot define how much we can love our mother, at least.
Perfect. That helps me just as much as I wanted it to help me. So how much do you love your mother is like a universal truth, right? Everybody loves their mother to the best of their abilities, as much as we can, right? Now, in the same tone, if I ask you, how much do you love your company?
That depends upon the salary and the job. Truth.
Yeah. But could you go saying 10%, 20%, 80%, 70%? Could you slot yourself somewhere in those numbers? Is it easy or difficult than the previous question?
It's easy.
It's difficult for me. Based on the individual and their experiences, everything gets changed. Company to company, person to person, based on their preferences, everything get differ easily. So
no, you just have to talk about yourself, Aditya. Probably how much did you love HP? Sorry for putting you on spot.
I would say I just love Deloitte to 100%.
See, you could put a number, right? That's my point. When we are saying that how much we love our mothers, we can't really put a number to it, right? But when we are talking about a company, probably we can, right? It's not as hard as the earlier one. That's a point that probably I'll come back to as we move ahead and probably link it to the story that I'm trying to put over here. Meanwhile, let's move forward. Okay, this one. What story do you get when you look at this slide? What's happening?
The technology that is coming up, that is more like automation and all this engines. So there is a fear of like the jobs will be impacted with that.
Very nice. Thanks, Suresh. So if the layoffs and the uncertainty in the business, in the market today is not enough, there's another thing that's happening parallelly, right? There is a massive speed with which technology disruptions are coming our way faster than what they were probably 5 to 7 years back, right? The very, very latest example is ChatGPT, which has taken the world with storm, and it has even intimidated stalwarts like Google, right? So something is really happening that we need to take notice of. A lot of people, even when ChatGPT is only in the experimental state, people are coming up with verdicts that probably after 5 years, these jobs are going to die, right? There would be newer skills that would come in the market, which are not here at the moment. Probably some people have just 5-7 years of shelf life left in the industry. So this whole picture, if you see today, is very uncertain. It's scary. It's interesting, but whichever side you want to take up. But some phenomena are happening, which we must acknowledge and understand, right? And to sum up, the last 2 slides, just to sum up the picture that I'm trying to put, if you look at the biggest tech layoffs since COVID, it has all stable, big companies that everybody wanted to work at, right? If you probably ask somebody in 2019, 2020, these were like the dream companies to work for, right? But today they're all laying off. What went so bad with all of them? We don't know, right? With the layoffs, there's also a notion that you can read that's written on the slide. Herb Kelleher, he was a millionaire and also the owner of Southwest Airlines in the US. And what he said was, nothing kills your company's culture like layoffs, right? And the kind of layoffs that are happening now, it really changes the world for the people who are left and not laid off, and also the people who have been laid off, right? Both sides to it. And then there are verdicts coming out like shelf life of skills now is only 2 to 3 years, and it's none other than our NASSCOM chairman, right? So we talked about keywords like VUCA, right? VUCA is here. Past 2.5 years, we are seeing VUCA in action. So when VUCA it is, Agile you must be, right? So everybody big, small, digital company, non-digital company, brick and mortar stores company, everybody has now realized that Agile you must be, because the speed at which the changes are happening, the company needs to be more resilient, more nimble to adapt to what is happening. Look what happened with Google, right? Do you really think Google did not have the AI capabilities in them while ChatGPT was being built and launched? Probably not, right? But maybe they have not been so nimble in adapting because of the kind of situation they are in, how their own search is being transformed with the newer ideas of conversational search, right? So that's how the market it is today. So what is the secret code? Everybody now understood that agility is where they want to be. Digital is where they want to be, right? So everybody started talking. Agile is ultimately about building better products. So if you want to be nimble, you want to be resilient, you want to be amazing with your customers, go Agile, go digital, right? So everybody started on that train. And people started talking that, you know what, better products, they come from people. They come from making your people happy, empowering your people, building the right values and mindsets, right? So it suddenly became a lot about people. And when people interact and collaborate, that determines what next thing we must act on. That's how it keeps us going closer to our customers. So Agile is what bridges it's a communion between IT development and the business, right? But with all the layoffs, everything that's happening, what happens to collaboration, right? So collaboration is the foundation on which our Agile mindset, Agile development, Agile product, the whole movement of building better products sits on. That's the secret, right? It's all dependent on people and collaboration. But even when I say that sits on collaboration, is that so simple? Maybe not. Just look at the two sides of collaboration over here, right? I'm not sure, but if you guys have picked up this book called Collaboration Explained, that's a very nice book that touches on a lot of aspects on people and collaboration. So Jean Tabaka, what does she say? She says that collaboration is about people having a working agreement and coming together. They may be collaborating together the whole time, or they may be making some agreements, going their ways, coming together to assess, but they are still collaborating, right? And collaboration isn't a 21st century skill. It's a timeless skill. Our ancestors, they may have collaborated on a lot of things to build the world it is today. But Jeff Patton doesn't feel so. He says people don't realize how bad they are at collaboration, right? I'm asking you guys a question here. I'm sure all of you would have taken interviews on getting newer people into your companies, into your teams, right? And have you ever heard anybody saying that I am not a good collaborator, I like to be alone, I like to work alone? Did anybody say that to you in your life? Yes, no, maybe?
It happened with me.
And
one
did
of
you?
our architect, he's like maybe 30 plus years experience in the organization. He's like, let me be on my own. I can do the things better than keeping me in a team.
Lovely. Then what did you do?
We had a conversation with him. What's the challenge, or what's his thought process when he's going through, and what can help him, and how we can be of help to him. So at the end, we realized that he can be let it be on his own, and as required, he know that he can reach out to us for any help or support. Some instances he was independent, some instances he was part of a team. It worked for him.
Great. And what if many of our team members, they come and say that probably we don't like working with people. I just want to be alone. I just want to code alone. Is that something that we'll be like accepting with open arms?
Actually,
that differs on the context.
We should not actually, because it's not one way. The guy that Satish is talking about, maybe he is good with his on his own, but and he might not need help from any team member, and he can search on his own, do research and find it out. But not everyone can do have the same skill. Maybe that guy is more capable, and he should come up with helping hands also to the team, and that is collaboration.
Absolutely, that's a valid point that you have put. And sadly, the world that we are in, I think ever since we are growing up, right? Remember, our parents used to say, please go and play with your group, go play with your friends, make friends, be part of a group. We've always been taught to be somebody who's into a symbiotic relationship, having people around, working together with people. School, there are a lot of assignments that we have to come together as team, right? And I'm sure we all remember some distinct people who did not really fit very nicely into this definition. I've seen a lot of people who don't want to be in a team setup, right? And we don't see them very evenly as we see the rest of the people around us, right? So that was the thought that started me thinking that collaboration is something we are always assumed to be great at, right? I can't collaborate, said no one. I would say like that, right? But the other side of the truth is we also don't realize how bad we are at collaboration. Do you guys, how do you guys feel about it? You guys agree, disagree? What is the tonality? Hello, I need some voice.
Guys, you can unmute and you can speak. Yes, I agree with you, Nancy.
Definitely. Even I realized working independent helps. At the same time, two brains coming together, it makes wonder.
Yeah, maybe I would say that. Sorry, I'm
Yeah, continue.
stopping somebody. No, Sneha, come again, please.
I believe in both because in my career, I've worked as an independent contributor roles for a lot of the time. But in the same way, I need to engage with the team as well. So I believe in a combination of both.
Okay, here I am not fighting a case against which is better, right? I absolutely leave that aside because that's very contextual, very situational, right? The focus that I'm trying to gain is when we say agility of an organization, right? That sits on the very foundation of collaborative people. Collaboration is the foundation of that thing to thrive. But when we say that, collaboration sees two extremes. One extreme where we are saying we are great at collaboration, right, as an individuals, but then the other extreme, again, as an individual, we lack the self-reflection of how great we are or how bad we are at collaboration, right? So that makes it complex. Collaboration is not a straightforward phenomena, so to say. Collaboration is complex because collaboration is about people. People themselves are very complex and very complicated beings on this earth, right? That we are still discovering, deciphering over the years of our living on this planet. So, where do we go next? If that complexity was not enough, there is more to collaboration. Now, if we look at how our organization is set up, right? The basic building units is our teams, our agile teams. It could be Scrum team, Kanban team. I'm not going into the tools and the frameworks. It's just an agile team who is supposed to collaborate. So there is a collaboration needed at the team level where people within a team and then inter-team, they have to collaborate to build something. Then there is this infamous IT and business collaboration, because when you are coming together to build products, you need people from product teams, different folks from stakeholders, executives to come and bring the product vision and telling the teams what needs to be solved, right? So there has to be a collaboration between those people, and then the second level of collaboration between them and the teams, development teams, and likewise, right? And if that is also not enough, then we have our top leadership who decides or who builds the vision, who brings about the change, right? So if you look at I'm just giving a very simplistic view of an organization, as simple as it could be for a layman, right? But the intent is to tell that at every layer, if you remember when we used to teach Scrum, there was this onion peel example to show that planning is done in 5 layers, just like there are 5 layers of peel on an onion, right? So similarly, here you could see this as multiple layers in an organization, and every layer needs to collaborate. So that is the essence. That's how fine collaboration is ingrained into any environment which wants to be nimble, which wants to be agile. And sadly, everybody today wants to be nimble and agile, which means that every person on this planet needs to be great at collaboration to be able to do this, right? And this becomes a daunting task. So here I'll tell the story that I was talking about right at the start. How did it all start? So I was, as a coach, I was working with executives. The executives were like any other executives of the digital age today. They want to run the digital age. They want to be nimble. They want to be fast at delivering to their customers, be customer centric, and all that stuff. But they were waterfallish. They were halfway through into the product-led mindset. They're somewhere there, but they know that there are silos, right? So one of them chatted with me and said, okay, all having said and done, how would you measure collaboration? And it was like, how much do you love your mother kind of a question for me, right? I kept on thinking, how can you really measure collaboration, right? It just comes out, right? You would be with the team and you would know whether they're collaborating or not. But that guy needed metrics, needed some visualization, something for him to know whether we are on track or not, right? So that led me think that as coaches, how would you go about answering how long the transformation would take, right? We all say that transformation is a long journey. It's about the journey, not the destination, right? But it's fair for the executive to ask us because he's spending down money into this program, right? So like we say, empirical approach, learning from shorter cycles, how would he know whether we are doing the right things? How early can we fail and all of that, right? What is the health of my transformation program? How can I see if teams are really collaborating, right? And what if they are hell-bent to measure collaboration of the organization? How do you approach all of these things? So those conversations led me think and probably move into the direction of the conversation we are having today. Anybody has faced such questions? Any thoughts? Okay, I'll take the silence. I'll go ahead. Okay, pausing the question there, right? Coming back to this one, have you ever wondered, whenever there is a calamity, right? Something like there was the Morbi Bridge calamity, or sometimes when in winters, due to a lot of fog, a lot of cars collide together and there's massive loss of life and health, right? How do you think doctors approach and prioritize whom to save, right? For them, every life matters. But interestingly, I got to know from my sister, who's a doctor, that there is a logic into the madness. There's a process to this madness. And what do the doctors do? They apply the ABCD rule to decide which patient they will treat first. What is A? A is the airway. Airway kills more people than breathing. Breathing kills more people than circulation. Circulation kills more than disability, and disability kills more than broken bones. So based this principle, they'll figure out whom to give the first aid first, right? So flow is that critical. The other side of it. When was the last time you guys were onto some task of accomplishing something and you lost the count of time? Does this happen with all of you very frequently? Not so often, very rarely? What would you say? Guys, I need some response.
Often.
Wow, that's amazing. Often is like the best thing to do.
It happens with me when We are very focused and very determined. Maybe 1 week it goes very well, 10 days it goes very well. On the 11th day it says, no what, relax for a bit, we can take it later. That's it. It never comes back. It just goes on with that.
Yeah, very true. And there is a saying that I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but a lot of times, even I've said to my kids, don't disturb me, I'm in a flow, right? And what does that mean? When you're in that stance of flow, it means that you are without stress, first of all. Second, you're doing something, there is a challenge, but you're enjoying to solve that challenge. You're channelizing all that you have into accomplishing that without stress, and you are at the max of your impact, right? For example, when Zakir Hussain used to play tabla, right? And a lot of classical singers, a lot of classical maestros, when they play, we just go into trance. And they themselves go into trance. That's the flow, that they are having maximum outcome and impact at that point of time. They've channelized everything to just build that outcome, right? So that is flow. And when we put it into what we do as human beings, at IT people, building products, doing a lot of great technology disruptions and transformations, what is the flow for us? Flow is when we are combining our intent. That's the trigger, that we need to solve something by utilizing everything that we know, be it tools, be it frameworks, be it people and their mindset, and then eventually delivering something which is high on impact of customer success, product quality, and definitely a lot of dollars and money, right? So flow is so essential to life. Flow is so universal that we must pick the flow and mind the flow when we are building products. So here's an example. My kids started to go to school and I started going back to office after a lot of time. So definitely there were challenges in, optimizing the morning time where everybody has to get up to go somewhere or the other, right? And we have limited time and there's a lot of things to do. And I was struggling with finding time for myself. I generally like to meditate in the morning and I wasn't able to do that for a couple of days. And I was like, no, this is not going to work and I need to fix this. There could have been one way of fixing where I could have assumed that probably this is not working, that is not working. Maybe I need to tune it, this and that, right? And there is the other way I tried. I tried to visualize what is that I do for the 3 hours of the day, the morning time. I tried to just jot down everything that I'm doing. And I tried to create areas, just kind of building a common bucket of what kind of work I'm doing, right? And I learned so many things through this exercise. Right now, if you look at the activities that I'm doing, it's taking me approximately 3 hours to finish all that I want to do and probably leave for office, right? What are my ways? Can you find ways to optimize? What do you see? What do you understand when you see this visualization on the screen that is right now? Any thoughts? Come on, guys. I think we can do better than this.
Sorry, could you repeat?
I'm saying, any thoughts when you look at the visualization on the screen? What crops up? What thoughts come up?
Like you're planning your day, you're bifurcating based on your work.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You have a structure with you wherein you have planned your day very well in terms of time management, so you can focus on when to do what and allocating your timelines to a specific thing, so you can have focused on a much more significant level than going here and there and having diversified thoughts of it.
That's correct as well. And there's the other side to it that I learned when I started to visualize the flow. I started to see that probably there are some avenues to optimize, right? There are certain things that probably I'm doing sequentially. There are certain things that I may probably have saved some time by preparing something in the night, or I could figure out any other technology advanced solution that could help me save that time. For example, the things that I have marked in the amber color, right? I figured out that within the vertical that they reside, I can save time by probably doing a parallel execution. For example, when I'm making lemon water for myself in the morning, I can probably make it for my kids as well, a little more warm, that it takes time to come to the temperature while they are getting up, and they can sip it and start their day. The things that are marked in green, they are something that can be optimized with an horizontal approach, which means that between the two verticals, they could run as an horizontal and could save me time, right? For example, packing lunch boxes and making tea. If you have made tea, you know that making tea is such a joy, right? And while the tea is simmering on the stove, you can do a lot of things. You can use that time, right? So the intent here is, this is what we are doing as a commoner, as my common life, right? But when we map it to IT, you would only know how to optimize when you visualize, right? Visualize the flow from where the trigger initiates till the value is delivered. Visualize all that is happening. That is when you will get control over your flow. When we say mind the flow, and flow is critical, the very important thing to get hold of the flow is to visualize your flow. What all is happening with my flow? That is when you'll be able to see things to improve, things to stop, things to start doing. All of that, all those ideas would start coming in once you have a visualization of your flow. And so what I learned is that the values and principles that we say, people, adaptability, flexibility, regular checks, introspection, continuous improvement, early success by failing first, and all of that, right? At the heart of it, how good we are collaborating is as simple as how good we are flowing. What does that bring to you guys? What do you feel about this statement? Does it resonate? Any examples? Any situations from the past? Okay, I'm not hearing anybody, which I would choose to assume that everybody agrees with me. That's a happy thing. That's a good thing to choose, and I'll choose it like that. Okay, so yes, coming back. So the question that the stakeholder gave me, that how would you measure collaboration for me, right? That is where I took him. We need to see how good you are flowing as teams, as products, and as an organization, right? Which meant that you have to bring flow as the center chairperson of your agility. But how would you do that? Okay, we understand collaboration is as good as your flow. You need to mind your flow. You need to bring flow at the center. But how? Is there a how, first of all? Do you guys want to know how, or do you guys feel that, oh, I've got the secret code? That's great for today.
No, we would
Want
like
to know how it is possible?
Awesome. So very first thing, after you have put flow at the center, right, you have to move a couple of things around. You have to move. I know we have come a very long way from the traditional PMP ways of measuring a software quality, measuring a software success. We have come to Agile metrics. We are very nicely implementing Scrum framework, implementing Scrum matrix. We are implementing Kanban. Somewhere we are implementing Scrumban, and there's like a buffet of a lot of frameworks happening today, right? That's all great. We have done a lot of hard work. But what needs to happen now is we need to bring flow at the center of every conversation. We need to move our metrics from measuring teams' velocity and teams' sprint commitment, we need to measure teams' throughput. Or when you're working in a product setup where you have a product area, you have multiple product teams working together for a product, right? Probably you need to measure the throughput of a product area itself, right? Which would be amalgamation of, I see this poll, probably you guys can take that offline. I'm moving on. So the conversation is you need to move what you measure. A very interesting thing about human psychology is that we are very great at rigging the system, right? If as a manager, you start valuing the number of lines of code I've written every single day, I can rig that as well. If you want to measure how many PR commits I'm doing every day, I can rig that as well, right? So that was my biggest learning of working with people, building products, is you need to be very careful of what you measure, because when you start measuring the wrong things starts happening, because that's how intelligent we are, right? I'm not going to talk about what this metric is, how do you calculate that. There's immense knowledge on Google. When we search, we get everything of it. But the important piece that I want every one of you to take away from here today is it is important to measure what you want to get, right? Things like flow velocity, flow load, what is the work in progress, what is the cycle time, those are the things that you have to bring into the center of every conversation, be it at a team level, be it at a product level or a product area level or an organization level. That's how you will measure how good we are as collaborating teams, collaborating organizations. And just not this, there's the second piece to this. So what I saw at one of my organization was that there was maturity of understanding the flow. There was the maturity of even measuring a couple of flow matrices. But when I looked at how they are doing performance appraisal, how they are doing rewards and recognition, it was slightly different. So if you start presenting awards like star performer, right? And somebody from the senior leadership chooses a star performer based on what the guy or girl has delivered. It creates a behavior where you want to be that one person who's anchoring the whole product, who's anchoring the whole of the team. There's a lot of heroism that we are building in as a culture, but that is not how an agile team would collaborate. Do you think with heroes in the team, it's easier for the team to collaborate? Have you seen that in your real life example? Anybody?
Not really.
Right. So even if we solve the problem of bringing flow as the central person, measuring flow, moving our matrices, we are measuring flow, there's this third step of adjusting your backend office, right? Wherein how you are doing your rewards. You need to think that whether this award would foster collaboration or would build competition, right? We need to foster behaviors. We need to measure things that are going to take us to that behavior. So those were a couple of ideas that I had tried with that organization, trying to revamp how they're doing rewards and recognitions. When you're doing performance appraisal, how do you bring collaboration as a core competency into performance appraisal, right? So that people feel that they are incentivized for collaborating, for being helpful to others, right? So those are very subtle nuances that you as a coach has to also look at and probably intercept at the right point of time when you feel something that is happening that may not contribute to the agile mindset of collaboration that needs to change. All right, so this is my last slide, which is summarizing what we have learned today. I always start with this one because I feel that most often than not, I see people talking that Agile is a framework, Agile is Scrum, Agile is Kanban, and so many other things, right? So I discovered the simplest definition of what Agile is. And I would want you guys to also probably make use of it and correct people wherever you see that happening. So Agile is just an empirical way of building better products. Agile is not framework, right? That's a very key thing I want all of you to take away from today. The second thing we discovered was collaboration is the foundation of going digital, going nimble, going resilient, everything that a company wants to go today, right? Collaboration is the basic foundation for any of that to be done. The third thing we learned was flow is critical to success of any Agile implementation. Hence, we must put focus on flow. Flow is not Kanban. A lot of times I see people just simply equating that, okay, we are doing Kanban, we are flow. We are not doing Kanban, we are not flow. Flow is as universal as collaboration and as universal as how much we love our mothers, right? Second last thing I want to stress today is measure behaviors you want to foster. You get what you measure. So be careful. A lot of times we are doing all of the above, and the point that we are failing is we are still sticking to the older ways of measurement that defeats the purpose of doing all the above steps, right? So yeah, that's the summary that I want you guys to go with today. And I'm happy to hear any feedback, any questions. Happy to learn from you guys.
It was a great session, Nancy, and honestly, a few thoughtful learnings and insightful points which you have covered. And guys, if you have any questions, you can either ask or put in a chat, and we can go ahead with the next session.
Sure. I also have my LinkedIn hyperlink here. So if you guys want to connect and converse, I'm open for it. Feel free. And yeah, if no questions, happy Saturday, everybody. Happy learning. And thanks a lot for joining in my session. I appreciate it on a Saturday evening. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. It was a wonderful session.
Thanks, Nancy, for a wonderful session. We would like to issue a digital certificate for you for taking us through this wonderful session. And, folks, we will share the LinkedIn for Nancy. You can connect with her and you can be connected with her. Okay. Sneha, over to you.